Yes, welcome to today's weekly outlook. So we're going to run through some pairs. We've already identified some pairs that have very good technical possibilities for trading opportunities, and this includes Bitcoin, Gold, GBP USD, Euro USD. So let's get into it. So let's start off with BTC USD crypto because it's looking good and it's ready technically. So let's start as always from the monthly time frame. We could even go to a higher time frame. So what do we need to do here? We need to mark our highs and our lows. All right. So this is the all-time high for Bitcoin as we know it. And price is currently around that all-time high. And then from there, we also saw another high that has been formed, which is this. And once we've marked the highs, it's also important to look at some other subtext of smaller highs. Since we're on the monthly time frame, we will look at the monthly highs, which are here. So starting off, we have this monthly high, and then we also have this other monthly high. So out of these two monthly highs, we've already seen one, which is acting as a resistance, and this is the most one, is acting as a resistance. Once we are done with the high, we can come and also mark our lows. Now, the reason why I'm not marking this so much is because whatever is happening here is being reflected here. So we can come to the lows and that is. So, and then once we're done with this, we know this is the area for trading. Then we can come to mark also other previous highs from down. So if you look at this, this was a high. And why we consider this as a high is because this lower high was taken over by this candle. This candle here broke this high. So you can just mark it like that, which is also here. The reasons why mark these previous highs that have been taken over is because they will act as our support and resistance areas. The same thing, the highs are resistance, the lows are supports. So once we've marked that, we can go to a lower time frame. In that case, let's come to the weekly. So on the weekly time frame, we also want to see where price structure. So this was our high, and that becomes our resistance area. All right, but then there's also another high here. So we mark that, and we know this is a resistance. So if you study the price from here, you realize price is actually we're having more price is being resisted from going further, starting from this, and then we have this. And then looking down here, this is our support area. But don't forget that this candle took over these highs. So this can also be another possible support area. Okay, and it has not yet been retested. So the reason why we're not marking this is because it has been raided over by this candle. So this low can also be your weekly low. So we have our lows and highs marked. Then we can come to another lower time frame. In that case, that is the daily time frame. And on the daily time frame, we also want to see structures that have been broken. Okay, so we can clearly establish here that this was the monthly high, and the monthly high has actually held price as a resistance because price tries to break it and then could not break it. And that's why you would see another resistance. Okay, so you would have this monthly resistance, and then when price was approaching this, also gave us a resistance. And now we see this strong bearish candle that has taken over, that has broken these lows, and then these are the previous highs. So this we can mark as also another resistance area. Okay, so once we have that, we can clearly tell here that price is bearish. And if price is bearish, you want to now focus on your resistances. So when you come to a lower time, which is the 4-hourly time frame, this is what it looks like. So we can clearly tell here that price has been resisted more than it has been supported because of this monthly resistance, and then we had this resistance on the daily, which is also reflected on the 4-hourly, and then we have a strong structural break change. Market is looking very bearish, and now we have another resistance here. So that means can be looking for trading opportunity around this region here when price pulls back to this. So as long as price does not break this resistance area, there is a possibility for it to continue to the downside. And this is in line with, you look at, this is an impulsive move. And then there would be a possible correction move into this zone. And then finally price continuing down. So that's what we have on Bitcoin. But the best way that I would really want to enter this trade is if we can form another small resistance within here on a lower time frame, say 4 hour, 1 hour, or 15 minutes. The resistance within here, then it can actually tell us that price is going to continue down. So that's what we have on Bitcoin. We're looking for selling opportunities when the resistance are going to hold price. Then going on to the next pair, which is gold. We have to look at gold also. For gold, I'm just going to look at it the weekly time frame. So gold from the weekly time frame, again, we need to mark our highs and then our lows. So looking at this, this is our all-time high. Gold has never reached these all-time highs. So you know what happens to gold and how investors behave around gold, and it being safe haven. So we have our high here, which is our resistance, gold, and then we have our low here, which is our obvious support levels. So once we have this, we have our obvious highs and obvious lows, then we can come further down. If you look at here, this was a previous high that has been broken, so this can act as our support. So we have support. But then before we continue further, we also need to mark the highs, the week. So you can clearly tell here, this is the high, this week which has just closed. But there's also another high here, the previous week that also. So you can take resistance. And then after this, we see clearly here that this week closed below this low. So this is another resistance area because this is a break of this low. So from there, we can come to a lower time frame, which will be the daily. So on the daily time frame, we clearly know that this is our high, the week, and then this is our resistance based on all-time high. And then we see a scenario where price has broken below this area. So this is our nearest resistance level. And then we see a price here. Also, there is this break. So these are the two resistances we have. And then if you come further down, you know, this is support. And then this was also an area, a high, which was broken. So this is another support area. But if you look at this now, this is your impulse. And then this is your correction. Let's do it like this. So this is your bigger correction. And then we have a break of structure here. So what shall we need to do now? Or what is our take on how we are going to trade? We're going to trade gold and possibly wait for trading opportunities on gold. So the best way to trade gold is to wait either price to be able to pull into this region here. That is where break happen, and then see whether we can have a resistance around this area. So because these are the scenarios which can happen. Gold can either retest this level and then come back down because it's bearish, or that possibility gold breaking this, come and retest this. But in all, we are majorly bearish focused. So we want to see a sell. So this is support, and then we also want to see what will happen around the support, whether it will broken with gold price, and then another support, and also this other support. So this is what we have on gold. Then coming to the GU, the dollar, the pound dollar, looking at it from the weekly is also looking good. So you want to be able to mark your highs and then your lows. Simple as that. So we have this as our high, which is acting as our resistance, and then we have this as our lows, and then we have an area where structure was broken, the high was broken. Also here, this other high, previous high was broken. So this single candle took away this high and this high. So these are our possible support areas. Then when we come to a lower time frame, this is what we want to see, especially that is the daily. So on the daily, you can clearly see how this resistance area was able to hold price long. And then coming into that, we have support areas, which are our lows here. So we have these support areas, and then we have others here. But the most important thing is that this bearish candle was able to take away all these lows. So we can mark that as our area of resistance, because you see this single candle took away this low, so that is another area of resistance. So when we come to a lower time frame and how we would like to trade this week, so we already established that we have a resistance area here, and then this resistance area, we see price actually failing to be able to break. You can see here, price attempted to break this area for long, but then it failed, and now we have a strong break. So this is what we want to see. Back into this, and then another possible resistance here has to be able to take this support, and then maybe possibly breaks this, and then we can think about it. So this is what we have on GU. So we want to see these areas being retested. So that is what it for this week. See you.